Okay, now we go.
Yeah, we're somebody holding that banner now.
Holly, can you see the Ron Paul? I can't see him.
I think you're zoomed in way too far.
There he is.
He gives me a lot of encouragement.
Oh, there you go. I'm sorry.
No, thank you. Oh, shit, I got here a couple minutes.
I can get 15 or 20 out. Have a crowd. So it's very nice of you to come out. But what is really nice is the enthusiasm. The enthusiasm for something that is very, very vital and very important. You know, when we get involved in fighting for our liberties, actually we do it out of self-interest as much as anything. You don't have to sacrifice anything. You do it because liberty is good for us. It's good for us as individuals. It's good for our family. It's good for our friends. It's good for the economy. Why shouldn't everybody be for liberty? Despite the fact that I've been doing it for a long time and seeing this operate and sometimes getting a little bit discouraged, there's a lot going on now to be very encouraged by. There's something big going on in this country, and I am so glad you're a part of it. Right now. There's a lot of problems in our country today, and I think one of the reasons why our numbers are growing by leaps and bounds is that people have come to the point where they no longer trust our government, and matter of fact, I don't believe our government has deserved much trust. The other thing that's wonderful about the message of liberty is it's not totally strange to America. Matter of fact, I think most of the good things that came out of America came because we have been a free nation, understood a little bit about liberty. And the founders did their very best job in putting it down in the Constitution, and there was a time when there was a lot more respect for the Constitution. And we did well, and we survived quite efficiently for quite a few years. But in the last 100 years, I would say, things have slipped away, and nobody's paid much attention. But all of a sudden, a lot of people are paying attention because I think the handwriting is on the wall. We cannot continue to do what we're doing today. And this country is bankrupt, and we better adjust for it and change our ways. Unfortunately for us, we don't have to reinvent the whole concept of liberty. We can refine it and modernize it and encourage it, but it hasn't been around all that long. Tyranny's been around a long time. The tyrants have been there, and believe me, they're hovering around Washington. They see what's happening, and the tyrants are always there. You know, I saw a proposal just on my way over here this afternoon. There was somebody, I think she was probably liberal. She suggested that the cure for everything right now is we need a jobs program, and she was advocating that the Congress immediately spend $1 trillion and get all new jobs. For some reason, so many people in this country are coming around to the opinion that we've been doing that for so long. That's how we got into this trouble. And just spending more and borrowing more and regulating more and taxing more and printing more. It got us into trouble. So what do? They turn around and they just do more of it. But people are waking up, and this is great. All we have to do is look to our traditions. The Soviet system broke down, you know, in '89 and '91, which was an amazing event, considering the Cold War and the nuclear missiles, and you know, they had 30,000 of them, and intercontinental ballistic missiles, and they just dissipated. It fell apart because they had a flawed economic system. They couldn't afford it, and those foolish people that made up the Soviet Union. Do you remember what they did? They went in and invaded Afghanistan. And all of a sudden, you know, it finally brought them to a decent independence. But they had no smooth transition, and they will always have more problems than we have. I don't know what will happen. Nobody knows exactly, but I know what the goal ought to be. The goal ought to be to change our ways and work our way out of it just like an individual should. The odds of that happening aren't all that good. We have to give it a try. But what we need to be prepared for, if it doesn't work, we better be available to help rebuild this society, because there are too many out there who would like to give us more government, more federal government, more international government, more UN, IMF, NATO, WTO, all that. We don't need that. We need to shrink the size of the government and deliver the government back locally, but deliver your rights and your privileges back to the individual. Imagine accepting such a radical idea that you have a right to your life. You have a right to keep what you earn. How about that? This is what we need. We need to get the government out of our way. Instead of more regulations and taxes and spending, what we need is less. We need less spending, less taxes, less regulation. Certainly we need a lot less printing press money from the Federal Reserve. We're learning a lot more about it, and it's actually probably a little worse than I ever dreamed. They've spent more money than abolish it. So, the more we find out about it, the more the American people are agreeing. We have to deal with the Federal Reserve, and the solution isn't complicated. All we have to do is go back and read that document that the founders wrote.
Constitution!
There's no central bank, and only gold and silver can pay legal tax.
Hands up, Fed! Hands up, Fed! Hands up, Fed! Hands up, Fed! Hands up, Fed!
When you end the Fed, we all end the Fed. We really don't have to worry about the spending problem. I mean, it'd be nice for everybody's appetite for big government just disappear, and the appetites for wars disappear and all. But if you don't have a Fed, if you had honest money, when the Congress spent too much and they started taxing, people would resist, started borrowing, interest rates would go up. If the Fed wasn't there to buy the debt, interest rates would go up, and they'd have to quit. And that is the reason the founders were so clear on this. They had gone through a runaway inflation, and they thought it was very important that you could not emit bills of credit, which is paper money. So just think, if they cannot spend in debt, the entitlement system would be challenged. The entitlement system couldn't last. And, of course, the wonderful part about it is that we have a sound monetary system. Plus, we do need an appetite to have a sound policy dealing with every country around the world. But without the inflationary machine, we couldn't operate our empire, and we'd have to bring all our troops home and let them spend their money here at home.